Hello Internet, my name is Zephyr, and I would once again like to bring this car to people's attention. This is the 2009 Corvette Stingray concept that I made an entire video on, begging GM or someone at Chevy to reconsider making this car. And if you couldn't tell already, I am far from done talking about this car. But rather than making the first video all over again on trying to convince someone at GM why they should make this car, I figured it would be a lot more fun to try and come up with some hypothetical performance packages and different specs for this car. We're of course going to be kicking things off with the base model, the cheap model. Nobody likes admitting that they have a base model car, but they are very necessary because they are meant to be cheap, so that way they are affordable. And this is going to be no different. So expect this to be very bare bones, to have the least amount of horsepower out of the lineup, and of course, it's going to be rocking the ugliest looking wheels you've ever seen. There's a reason why I'm using a picture of the base Corvette C8, and that is because the base model looks incredibly cheap, and you can really tell. The wheels look disgusting, all of the vents look like they're plastic and just stuck on, and it just looks like it has no detail, making the car look very bland and generic, whereas in higher trim spec versions of the car and later year models fix all these issues with different wheels and small but subtle details that change the car up dramatically. So for a base spec version of this Corvette, this is exactly what I have in mind. Some serviceable alloy wheels that look good but not too good, a slotted grille and chrome Stingray badging, and I don't know, maybe some ugly door handles. And there you go, that is your base model. Moving on to the Z06 model now, and here is where we get a slight upgrade. This is where the true fun begins, because with the Z06, I'm planning on giving you just a straight up concept car. Except of course you'll be able to personalize your car by changing the color of the rims and the material, as well as the badging. Being able to choose from chrome, black, alloy, gunmetal, and of course bronze. Now, seeing that this is my video, and this is my favorite Corvette, and it also just so happens to be the first of the performance packages, of course, I'm going to give this thing the full beans. I'm giving this Stingray Z06 a whopping 800 horsepower, making it as powerful as the C8 ZR1. 6-piston Brembo brakes, and of course, improved suspension, all powered by a twin-screw supercharged V8. Now here's the kicker. I'm going to be treating this car exactly the same way as the Camaro because I'm going to be giving this a Transformers edition, seeing as that's the movie it made its debut in, and that helped popularize the car in the first place. Now, I am well aware that if this car were to ever come back for production, a Transformers edition is the least likely to be made just because everyone knows who Bumblebee is and knows he transforms into a Camaro, but not a whole lot of people know who Sideswipe is. But this is a hypothetical list, so let's say hypothetically they were to consider it and this were a package to be offered. Well, exactly what you see is exactly what you get. There is no customization this time around. You get a silver Stingray with chrome rims, chrome badging, but you'd get the same treatment as the Transformers Edition Camaro with a tiny little Autobot badge just under the Stingray badging. However, if you look closely, you'll be able to find the Autobot badging on different parts of the car because it'll also have it on the center hubcaps of your wheels, as well as in different places inside the interior, with the most noticeable being on the center console. And for the finishing touch, you would also get upgraded to a nice pair of xenon blue headlights. Now, I am very much aware that this is not entirely movie accurate because the car that is actually used in the movie that you see in the picture here has aftermarket wheels. Keep that in mind because they will come up again when I get to the highest trim model where it would make sense to have much cooler looking rims. Which is a nice segue because finally we move on to the Stingray ZR1. The ZR1 is the highest spec that you can get for a road legal Corvette, so it makes the most sense to give this one everything. This is supposed to be the highest horsepower, the fastest, and a full balls to the wall version of the Corvette you can get. So that's why I've been saving everything for last. This is going to be the most dramatic conversion for this Corvette that you are going to be able to get, which is why I'm essentially giving you the Transformers 3 Dark of the Moon Stingray Corvette except it's a hardtop. This will have the same level of customization as the Z06, but this time around it'll be sporting hood vents. It'll be sporting a low-level spoiler that'll contour the body and complements the car. And this will be the spec to have the movie-accurate wheels that just look gorgeous on the car. And of course, you will be able to customize them to whatever color or material of your choosing. I would black everything out on this spec, so black taillights and black badging. And just because I want to see something different when it comes to V8s, I would actually give this twin turbos, pushing the car to 1,000 horsepower right on the dot. In my previous video, I said they should bring this design back for an all-electric Corvette because sooner or later they're going to end up making an EV Corvette. And while I do stand by that statement because I feel like this design would perfectly suit an all-electric Corvette, this is how I personally would spec out each of the different trim levels of this model Corvette, so there would be no use for an all-electric version. At the end of the day, I just really want this design to come back, and recognizing that it would obviously need some major changes and even a facelift, I think this design that's on screen right now would actually fit perfectly for a modern version of this Corvette. And I do actually have one more trick up my sleeve on how they could bring this car back from the concept stage. Hear me out, as this move would be pretty damn risky. While this car was always meant to be a Corvette and it was designed to be one in the first place, and it would definitely sell a lot better if it were sold as a Corvette, it doesn't have to be one. And it doesn't even have to be a Chevy to begin with. What if instead of being sold as a Chevy Corvette, this was instead given to a different brand under the GM banner, and it was sold as a Cadillac? It wouldn't be the first time Cadillac has experimented with trying to make their own sports car, and the design language for this actually fits Cadillac pretty well. This design does stand out a lot more than previous Corvettes because it has a lot more swooping curves and just feels a lot more elegant overall, which would actually fit a lot more with Cadillac's vibes, seeing as they're all about prestige and luxury. Yeah, at the end of the day, this would just be bringing back an old Corvette design that they rebadged into a Cadillac. But however they decide to bring back this car, it doesn't matter, as long as they do. And you know what? This design would actually fit Cadillac more now that I think about it, because this isn't like your grandpa's Corvette. This car commands your respect. It has the style and grace of a European sports car while being made here in the States and is actually affordable. And that's why I want this car to be made so badly. It has a retro yet futuristic and modern design that makes the car look timeless, while still capturing that aggressive and iconic look of every Corvette that came before it. This car is the pinnacle of beauty, so much so that every time I look at it I gush in my pants. Speaking of, please excuse me as I need a change of underwear. But there you go. That is how I would spec out each trim level for this car if it were to ever hypothetically maybe get considered being brought back for a full production car. I hope I didn't piss anyone off or make anyone upset with what I said about the base model C8. I just really do not like that design of Corvette, so I am sorry. On the flip side, if you enjoyed everything I said in this video, maybe consider leaving a like and subscribe as it greatly helps out the channel. And as always, thank you for watching.